Hello, I'm Coleen Rhalena Renee, spiritual teacher and healer, and I recently went to the Women of Wisdom conference in Seattle. And this year particularly, I was really struck by the power of story as these incredible women in their vulnerability and their strength shared their journeys and shared the gifts that they had, the gifts that made them who they are, some of which were very difficult and some which they needed to uncover as part of the epic journey of coming to themselves. And I was really struck this year by how that power and how their sharing of their stories really transforms lives. It was like finding the gold in our stories. And they, by modeling, and Reverend Judith Laxer was the keynote, and Franca Baroni did a performance art piece that also shared her vulnerability, and Rose Haro in her workshop shared. It was phenomenal. And it really inspired me to move again into offering the power of story as a way for clients to connect with their passion, to connect with the desires that have sort of laid fallow. And it's spring. It's time to break open the earth and to allow those seeds that have just been laying there dormant to begin to sprout and to unearth the secrets of how they can move through our lives. And again, this is like gold. It's pure gold. And when we really take the time to look at our stories and look at how they've played out in our lives, we can find that gold. And sometimes that gold is just found by a little tweak in how we carry our story. So I am just really, really excited to be offering. I'm going to be doing some videos that you'll see on, how do we change our story. I have a blog that I'm doing a series called #IPromiseMe, which again is about stepping into the power of our story despite whatever else is going on. So I want to offer these resources to you. And this week only, I'm offering a special opportunity for you to work privately with me in a series of 3 sessions, or to join a group experience that will be a 6-week long thing. So all of those details I'll go ahead and put in the description in this video. But what I really want to do here and now is encourage you to look at your stories, to go back and even looking at what were your favorite fairy tales, or the stories that you had, you begged your parents to read to you over and over again, or to tell you over and over again. Because sometimes those stories, those gold nuggets, are actually in our family stories. My friend Howard Lyman, who has really done some incredible things in his life, and some things that seemed impossible, like going from the biggest cattle rancher in Montana to becoming a vegan, and working in DC, and then writing a book and traveling all over the world. And I've watched him for over a decade, even in his retirement, take on project after project that seemed unlikely. And he's just like, if it seems right, he just goes for it and he does it. And I've just admired him and his ability to do this and his faith in that. And I always kind of wondered, where does it come from? And one day I was at a talk he was giving, and he spoke about his grandfather and how his grandfather had moved to Montana and lost everything. And then he picked himself up by the bootstraps, so to speak, and he created a new life. And he lost everything, and he picked himself up, and he created a new life. And he did this several times. And I realized Howard has this story in his DNA, but more importantly, he carries this story in his life. And if his grandfather could do it, of course he can. So some of these stories, these golden nuggets, can be these ancestral stories, these stories that we grow up with about our family. And again, we find our character and our identity through those stories. And some of them are cultural stories, the fairy tales that get handed down to us. And then, of course, there's the life stories that we kind of collect along the way. And it's not just the stories, it's how we choose to carry them. And if we're living a life that doesn't feel like it really serves us, we want something new, we're longing for those desires to have expression or those dreams to come true. Oftentimes the key is to go back into your stories and really choose to carry them differently, to mine those gold nuggets and then really use them in your life. So I hope this has given you some ideas. And again, there's some resources that I'm happy to share with you. So here's to finding the gold in our own stories. Okay, blessings.